Hi, my name is Tim Starkey, and I'd like to share with you the story of how God helped me defeat my giant of temptation. It started at work. I always wasn't ever a day shift kind of person, never was a morning person. Hated it. It wasn't my thing, so a night shift was where I wanted to be. There was no bosses on night shift. I made more money, so why not? I never had to worry about what I was going to do. I'd get up, I could go to the doctor. During the day, it was good for me. Spent 5 years on the line. Just sharpening my skills. Learning kind of what's going on in the plant, and finally showing them of how I can handle responsibility, and they liked that, and it just kind of progressed from there. 5 years after that, I was promoted to team leader, and I was doing pretty good with that. And they moved me to a new line, a line that just started up. That had all new people. I bet there wasn't a person at work there for over 2 years that they put me over. My bosses were starting to notice that, and starting to put more I wouldn't say pressure, but more responsibilities on me, and I loved it. I didn't have I didn't have any family except for my parents back here in Ohio, so I just would work Friday night and come here and hang out on the weekends here. I met Katie about a year and a half in, something like that, and we got married, and we were having a good time. She was okay with me working night shift. It wasn't a big problem when we first met. Then I got this project group. They sent me to first shift. I was loving it. I got my Friday night back. I never had a Friday night for 8 years. 8 years, never had a Friday night unless I took a day off. So it felt like a 3-day weekend for me when I got that. I was missing out on all these family activities. During the weekdays, somebody would have a birthday or something like that. I wasn't there. I was working. I never got to experience any of that. So this going to first shift for this temporary time of training and being on this project group was very awesome. For my relationship with Katie, it also freed me up to go to church, because Sundays I'm used to getting up at like 12, 1 o'clock. Getting up. So getting up at before 11, 9:30, 9:30. That was like getting up at like 3 a.m. for me. So I was wore out. It was not enjoyable to go to church, so we didn't go to church that much. Plain and simple. It's just is what it is. So going to first shift, I was up. I was used to getting up at 3 o'clock. I would get up. I could have breakfast. I could get a nap and still have time to go to church. That kind of switched up my timeline for going to first shift permanently. It kind of pushed me. I went from probably about 3/4 of the way through, which probably put me about a year out from going to day shift, and it potentially pushed me back a couple years longer. And I kind of felt sick to my stomach when that happened. I knew there was two choices to make. One, I go back to night shift, and I just suck it up and go back to night shift and go back to losing out on my family time, not having as good a relationship with my wife. And we also found out my wife was pregnant. Boone's on the way, so that made it even harder. I was going to have to choose work over watching him grow up. And my second option was give up my stripe and give up my rank, and then go to bust myself back down to team member, which I had a plenty good enough clock number to get to day shift that way. I knew what the right decision was. I knew what the right decision, was to, go to first shift. But I really didn't want to give up. Really didn't want to give up my team leader privileges at the time. I just kind of, I knew what the answer was right away. It started stressing me out, and I wasn't able to separate my work life from my home life as good as I used to, and it just, I wasn't sleeping as good at night. Shorter temper and stuff like that. And then, a couple months down the road, it finally hit me. I finally pushed to the point of, what are you doing, kind of thing. I just had that voice back in my head as I was walking through my plant. It said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I knew at that time what I needed to do. I needed to choose my family over my job, and that was hard for me. It kind of hit me right in the gut. As soon as that happened, I went outside. I called Katie up and I said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go demote myself. I'm getting ready to demote myself, and I'm going to go to first shift." I was out for all that stuff went on with Boone. Then I come back 2 weeks later, and still nobody was trained up. They haven't promoted anybody to take my spot, and this was getting pretty frustrating because I did my part and told them kind of what I wanted to do, and they had a deadline that they didn't meet to get me back. I finally had to go out for my shoulder surgery. I told them, that was coming up. Hey, I'm going out, in a month. I need you guys to, get somebody here to train them. And I think it was like 2 weeks before I was getting ready to go out for my shoulder surgery. They promoted a guy on first shift, and he was training on first shift for like 2 weeks. 9 hours before I had to report, they called me and said, "Hey Tim, you're going to day shift." So I was relieved and kind of upset, because I was already training myself to go back to night shift, so I wasn't going to get much sleep that night, and I was just tickled pink to go to days. Katie was happy, and I was able to see Boone a lot. And it's just been uphill or downhill ever since. So we've loved it. Our marriage has grown stronger. I see Boone all the time now. I've seen his milestones and been there for some of his medical issues. I've been able to help out with that. I know being on night shift, that would have been hard for me and Katie. Me having to be at work and while all this was going on. So I've been able to be there, and that was a huge relief and a huge help, I feel like, for Katie. It's been great. During, the 7 months and, everybody, kind of ridiculing me, this whole time of, hey, you're an idiot kind of thing. It was tempting just to say, hey, I'll just stay. I'll stay. I'll keep my benefits. My benefits of being a team leader, and I'll keep the money. I won't have to worry about money at all. It's tempting to just say, hey, I'll stay on night shift. That was hard, but I thank God that He gave me the strength and the willpower not to get a negative attitude and just stay positive and say, hey, Tim, this is direction you need to go. And I thank God that He helped me through that time.